We're nearly at the end of the road here in NA Trials, but for some teams, their destination has already been decided. Welcome back, everybody. We're in day number 4. Going to be starting out over in Group A. It's Possible and LaFon taking you through today's games. First up on the docket, LaFon, we've got Saints versus Hype Unit, and let's take a look at the standings, because these two teams are very much what I was referring to when it comes to the fates already being decided.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for these teams, they've yet to pick up a win. Good news, one of them will get a win today.
yeah. This is a tough place to be, especially in Contenders trials where you don't have a lot of wiggle room. But unfortunately, for both Saints and Hype Unit, that room has run out. As you say, the best they can do is 2 and 3 at this point. So they will be mathematically eliminated as a result. However, there is still more to play for, and so starting with the Saints, of course. We need to see from this team some more execution, because I don't think they're a bad roster at all. We saw, in their previous games on stream, they had definite moments where they looked fantastic. I think, especially against Saints game versus in the previous couple of days, where they were playing, the Genji and looking pretty strong on it, Hazard specifically. I think here for Saints, this is more of a prove we belong here, because I think they do. It's just that starting off this rough this early is a tough place to be.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, none of the talent in Saints is any that we have any doubts about when it comes to a specific individual mechanical level. Now, metas aside, maybe picks aside, all of these players have proven that they have been in Tier 2 for a hot minute from most of them, right? So we're not really doubting them. Hype Unit, it's a little bit of a different scenario, right? A lot of these players coming up from Tier 3, working, trying to move toward Tier 2. Now it kind of comes down to their individual skill, right?
Yeah.
You can't get to Contenders as a team, at least this season, right? So what can you show us? Where's the flair? Who do we need to keep our eyes on?
Well, across the board, I think that's going to be the question that they need to answer before we can really give that shining light on it, right? I don't think for what we said about Saints, I think goes for Hype Unit as well to a slightly lesser degree. There's a ton of talent on this roster that has, as you said, been around for quite some time, and it's now time to prove that next step, to take that next step as a player, as an individual, and make the jump from Tier 3 to Tier 2, right? And I think it has to start off right now. You don't have, you can't keep saying, okay, we're going to go for the next season, they need to start performing as individual players that will go on into, and hopefully pick up into Contenders proper. We are going to start off on map number 1. It is, of course, going to be Control. Paul Busan is where we are starting today, and right off the top, this is going to be a mirror of what we kind of expect in terms of meta. We are likely going to see a ton of Genji played out here today.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, more than likely, right? I think if you're not running the Genji, you are definitely at a compositional disadvantage right now. That being said, I love watching Genji. It's been a hot minute. Actually, this is the first time since I started casting Overwatch, LaFon, that Genji has actually been consistently playable. So I love seeing him back in the lineup. That being said, for Hype Unit, we don't necessarily know who is pulling that out. You'd expect maybe Chinese food to be the one doing that, but we haven't actually seen them on stream yet this week. So
yeah, that's actually something we haven't touched on. Hype Unit is a bit of an unknown to the audience when we come down to it. As we said, they haven't been on stream, but with that being said, we're getting our first look at them here. The gates will unlock, the map will open, and Busan has started.
HTP, why'd you miss the teleport, man? You weren't the one on the Symmetra. Why are you going that late? Well, regardless, it's still going to be Saints who make it to the point first. Unit's just playing back right now. Not really going for an ambitious contest. Now they're going to move their way toward the objective. That's already in the back line, though. There goes straight gas. There goes a lot of pressure. Saints is now playing with more intensity. If they stay behind their shield, ID not having that much luck right now, though. It's slowly but surely. Despite the opening pick there, Hype Unit is getting the advantage, and despite Hazard even looking like he's ahead of the hill, they don't get much out of this.
That was a case of the hit scan not finding any value whatsoever. It's the Widow versus G3. You expect a ranged battle from my crazy cat. Can I switch over to the Tracer after being taken out by Hazard? But Chinese Food is really the one that pops off in that fight. Already 80% to the Dragon Blade, and coupled with the rally, I expect Hype Unit to actually be at advantage here in this next engagement. Look for Chinese Food to try and get to that blade and really pop into the backline to find that first final play.
Rally playing pretty nasty in the amplification matrix. right as they come out here. Yep, Saints gonna throw that out. Trying to get some space over the objective, but it's gonna be answered back. No, it's not answered back. Now it's gonna go out as the rally comes out. Played after ready here for Chinese Food, but he knows he doesn't need to use it. Good discipline there from Iceland. Only using the support ult and still getting the win on the board.
Even more important, I think, is the discipline to not pressure the amplification matrix that came out from Saints. Madero put that down early, put that ultimate down early, and got no value from it as basically Hype Unit walked away from the line of sight. And so that was a trade under the most technical definition, but really was all advantage Hype Unit. Now in this next engagement, it's going to be an ult bump on both sides of the field as Hazard's going to have his Dragon Blade, and I think you're looking perhaps at the Gravitic Flux at trying to shut down the Genjis as they enter into try and find those Dragon Blade kills.
Just coming out first and foremost from Skids. Once again, trying to just get onto the objective. That's a nasty Gravitic Flux there from Specs. Seems to mostly get negated, but it gives Chinese Food the room to go in and pop off. Beautiful combination of those ultimates there. And Hype Unit maintain control as they tick up toward 90%.
One thing I want to touch on here is what my Crazy Cat has kind of been since switching over to the Widowmaker. There's a Wrecking Ball that can pass but gets stalled out. My Crazy Cat's been on a ton of flanks here, Paul, just putting so much pressure in the back line and opening for Chinese Food to get value. Now in overtime, they need a pick off here a good thing.
That's an ambitious Gravitic Flux. It's not going to come out of that. Has to come out from this blade. No! Hazard a quarter of a second late to get to the objective there. Saints failed to put a percentage on the board on Sanctuary.
That was the unfortunate step off the point when you have the advantage in economy moment.
I think there's a term for that, LaFon. I can't think of it though.
Yeah, no, it's
who knows? No one could ever say what it is.
Someone coined that thing for us. Find a title for it. But now here into round number 2, I'm gonna need to see a little bit more aggression from Saints. They sort of walked forward and never took space from Hype Unit, and Hype Unit was more than willing to just say, all right, we'll just play at our advantage, and Saints didn't really do much to kind of battle that out. So round number 2, as it opens up here with the teleporters on the exit, I need to see more value off the back of Hazard's Genji from Saints.
I'd like to see Saints set him up. Hazard, when he gets those advantages, when the rest of his team can eke out some resources from the enemy team, the blades have been nasty this week. It's good halt there, a lot of damage. Ooh, into the ante too. Already Hype Unit having to play back, and Immortality Field will keep them alive, but they're under so much pressure right now. They need to find a way to come back into this fight. Gao is the person who they want to exert all their resources onto. Immortality Field keeps them alive. Hazard in the back line, trying to farm up the blade. Amplification Matrix keeping him out. It's slow going right now, but there's the first pick. My Crazy Cat shutting down Hazard, and now Chinese Food can play with more impunity. Gao throwing out a desperate Gravitic Flux, brings a couple members low, but nobody's going to be able to connect onto those eliminations, and therefore Hype Unit maintain control, and once again, they will get the first cap.
At several points during that fight, the majority of Hype Unit went down to sub 100 HP on the tank line and sub 50 HP on the DPS line. There were so many weak members on Hype Unit's side, but despite all that, a great Immortality Field from Moser allows them to sustain through it, and that generates your resources. And now, Saints are in a really awkward position. They're banking on a beautiful Nano Blade to get them this point, but other than that, they're a disadvantaged resource-wise.
Rally already too, out from the Hype Unit. Good halt there. Working already down. And it's not a bad start, but Saints, you need to live long enough to actually capitalize on it. The Bob's gonna keep them checked at the door. Big Omnic Bouncer is what he is right now. Waiting for this blade. He's gonna throw it in once again, paired with the Gravitic Flux. And it's just so nasty, but not really nasty enough. Only a couple picks this time, but seems like it's actually going to be enough. I stand corrected as Chinese Food finds the better end of Hazard there.
And remember what I called out about the Nano Blade being the opening frag that they need to come in if you're the Saints? The Nano Blade got exactly 1 kill on the Brigitte. No one was alive to take advantage of it, and so no push came through. And now, Supercharger is really the only thing that exists. They're going to go out for that. Saints aggressively. They need to find value here.
Iron goes out. Ice just forces back Hype Unit. Not a ton of value coming out of that. Oh, HTP already gone. Hazard meeting him in the grave. Not at all what you were looking for value-wise. Supercharger gets used, but the rest of Saints just have to slowly back away. Gao with the Gravitic Flux? That was ambitious.
There's nothing left available here. Jizz is going to switch over. They're going for a wholesale swap. They need a last-ditch effort. The only thing I have is Amplification Matrix. You're running into Bob. You need a hero play here for the Saints. You need a hero play from someone on the field.
Hero play, and not really any ults that are known for hero plays coming out. Bob being thrown once again straight at the doorway. Borkin already gone. Dicey's gonna pay for that though. It's a 1-for-1 trade, and My Crazy Cat is basically uncontested. 2 players on the points for Saints. They're trying to connect onto the Brig in the backline, and they'll finally get it, but so much damage taken to do so. Skiz just rolling around the objective, struggling to find anywhere to go. And with the blade out, anyone who even comes near the point is gonna get chopped to bits. A clean 100-0.
200-0.
Twice in a row for Hype Unit to take map number 1.
200-0. That was one-sided. And that's not what we expected coming into this series, Paul. We thought this was going to be a matchup that was going to be close between Hype Unit and Saints. And yes, we still have a couple of maps to go, or at least one more. Saints looking pretty lackadaisical on this first round of Busan.
And the other side of the coin, Hype Unit, this is the first time we've seen them. I could not tell you what happened in the 3 games that they lost 0-2. This does not look like a team that should be losing 0-2 over and over again.
No,
right?
certainly
They
not.
had beautiful combos. Every fight they go in, they know exactly how to use their ultimates and what they want to get done with them. Looks great so far.
And actually, the thing I'm most impressed with Hype Unit was their patience. They didn't take, sometimes you'll get antsy when you're playing up against a team that's using a ton of resources, and you'll try and rush the fight to make sure the enemy team can't get value because they're being rushed. But Hype Unit, in times where that first ultimate was committed by Saints, they were like, we're just going to relax and wait for that to wear out. Then we're going to come back in with our own resources. And that, I think, is a mark of a team that really, surprisingly, this is, as you said, does not look like an 0-3 team. And yet, here we are.
And Hype Unit, we came into this and we said we need people to pop off. We need to see some shining stars. Thus far, I think, honestly, most of Hype Unit has looked pretty dang good. I mean, obviously our eyes are immediately drawn to the Genji, right? Chinese food pulling out the blade, getting nasty 4Ks every fight, right? But, Specs is constantly setting him up with those Gravitic Fluxes. It's just solid team coordination all around from Hype Unit right now.
Yeah, and I think, you called it Chinese food, but My Crazy Cat's been doing a ton of work as well.
Certain.
Getting in the backline, staying alive a lot, especially on the Tracer in that first point. I think getting so much value with the flanking pick. And you could name anyone on Hype Unit right now and saying that they're playing exceptionally well, and you'd be absolutely correct. There has been no real failures of momentum from Hype Unit, right? So I think coming into map number 2, Saints, they have a lot to put up here. I think they need to stop the aggression from, stop the tempo, rather, of Hype Unit very, very early on if we want this to be a competitive series.
Well, let's keep in mind, if they don't stop it early on, we won't get much of a series. It's not best of 3, or best of 5, I should say. It is first to 2 map wins here in Contenders Trials. That's match point already here for Hype Unit. They just got to put Route 66 to bed, and they will get their first win here in North America Trials. They're going to look to do so as they roll on out. Not too many changes across the board for either team right now.
They're looking here as the only difference here is Moser on the Zenyatta as opposed to the Brig. But defensively, or offensively rather, you're looking to put that Discord Orb and make life a little bit easier here for Chinese food and My Crazy Cat.
Much more difficult for the tanks of the attacking team. Borkin and Specs gonna have to be pretty careful. This is a beautiful little position here from My Crazy Cat, and he gives a nasty dynamite that allows Hype Unit to just roll forward, get 2 easy picks. Not really much of a way they're gonna lose this fight now, LaFon.
No, this is a worst case scenario actually for Saints, is that they are extremely split up with 0 resources. Chinese food wins a 2v1. Oh no. Don't do it
He's
like
going
that.
for the other kill. He's going for it. Gao's all alone, man. What are you gonna do? Poor Gao, just completely isolated. He's gonna shield juggle as best he can, but that's such a late stagger. One fight wins hype unit point A.
Chinese food was in the middle of facing down Gao. Took a moment to instead hazard a message over top. You hate to see it. Oh,
Oh no! This is slaughter so far.
there's
Hype unit. They're playing with their food right now.
Yeah.
No, come on. He's already dead. Let him lie. All right. Well, Saints, they're backing up now. They're gonna get a full actual recontest, but it's so late already for this just to be the second fight.
Yeah, and if you look at how much damage came through on Hype Unit's side, they're gonna have a ton of resources here. Chinese food easily gets out of dodge, has the dash. He's gonna be fine with the Dragon Blade. And Matero down early.
Bro, my crazy cat again on this crazy flank. Finding an nasty dynamite around all the shields and resources of Saints.
Get in here.
Hype unit are relentless right now.
The cart has not stopped moving, and
Literally, nobody's gotten there. Now we're getting stagger picks. Look at, there's two players. It's just Borkin and Moser. How have they gotten here? Where is Borkin going?
hey, Moser is gonna go down here.
No,
Wait,
he's not.
no, he's not.
Oh, but now the recontest can actually happen on the cards for Saints if they can keep getting picked. Not going to be the case once Chinese food pulls out the blade, but at least you get some resources out of the attacking team. Bro, where's Borkin? Dude, he's just chilling by the enemy spawn.
Let's be very clear. The Hype Unit's the reason why these resources were committed. They did not need to use the Transcendence. They did not need to use the Supercharge, but this is all one-sided. Gravitic Flux being committed early by Gao.
Flux coming out from Gao. He wants to try and pick up Specs, who is isolated, and that is a nice early pick here for the Saints. On what is essentially the fourth fight of the map here on Route 66. They get the opening frag, and they're going to continue. All right, Saints, get your breath of fresh air. Don't get punched in the gut, though.
We'll have to wait and see. Skiz is down, so there is a theoretical window here for Hype Unit to come in and take positioning for free. Bob's gonna be committed early. They want. Oh, Bob's dead.
Bob gets Discord order. Nice shield there from Gao. Keeps him alive long enough, actually. Chinese food over-investing a little bit there. Hype unit, they maybe played with their food a little bit too long, and now food's coming back to bite him. There's a Gravitic Flux catching Gao, but Specs gets caught in the air. Can't even finish with the slam. Saints are finally putting their foot down.
You have to wonder, how effective is the next couple of fights going to be, considering that Hype Unit used everything in.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say used everything. Pressed their Q button several times. But now this is a place where Saints have advantage in terms of Pulse Bomb gets deflected.
What a deflect there from Chinese food.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
I mean, you do
That
have
was such a good
Supercharger.
reaction time.
You do have Supercharger online here, so you should be able to win this fight out via damage superiority. It's early.
Going out. Skiz, though, nearly getting popped by that Amplification Matrix, and the Immortality Field's already been used from Madero. Borkin, nice headshot there, just on the corner. It clips Borkin's noggin. And without that main tank, it's pretty difficult to impress for the attacking team. Even more so once Specs gets caught in the Gravitic Flux. He'll get Discord orbs and eliminated. Hype Unit's starting to stall out.
And this has not been the most. Oh, this is dangerous here actually from Saints.
Well, HGP's gone now, and Chinese food has the blade. That was pretty much your one chance to make sure Chinese food doesn't get value out of this blade, sitting in spawn. Now Chinese food going forward, he's looking for the carving station. Immortality Field, gonna shut him down though. And now there's a late Transcendence coming in to try and keep Saints on the front foot. Not so much the case. Bob gets chucked in, but Idaisky goes down. And Hype Unit, they had their fun, but now they're looking to wrap this up and complete Route 66. Somebody's got to be on the cart though, guys. There we go. Just Madero over, chilling on the side. If he can actually live here, there might be a recontest for Saints.
No, there's a recontest available definitely, and Hazard's actually going to come out solo. trying to get this one done by himself. Ooh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna hold yet again.
Yeah, good pulse bomb there to force that immortality field, and once that's gone, it's easy picking. Although we say that, okay, there we go.
That's the reset now. Finally. I mean, you know, Chinese.
It's a very interesting series we're getting, LaFon.
It certainly is. But as Saints look forward, I mean, Hazard here trying to go for the one clip, not going to get it. And all that does is buy a little bit more time as the full setup comes in. We have Mirror Comps out again. As it's no Genji, Tracer coming through, Amplification Matrix from Garrett. They're looking for that first fight win, the first fight kill here.
Hazard's nearly gonna find it too. My Crazy Cat already pretty low. Hazard's just diving around the enemy team. Gotta be a little bit careful. Supercharger now down. Damage boost going over to Hype Unit. They're pressuring out Skiz rather effectively, but no eliminations yet for Hype Unit. They need to actually collapse onto a target right now, and Skiz is going to avoid that call. There's a Gravitic Flux catching 2 over on the side, and a reinvestment coming out from Hype Unit, but it just takes too long, and they don't find enough value. I don't know if that Gravitic Flux was necessary, Gao, but with only a minute remaining, Hype Unit might not even cap after what was a ridiculous first couple of points.
They will have no one to blame but themselves after the end things are all said and done. I mean, supercharging and spawn when you're the only one there is a little bit bold, but I mean, here this is just Mr. Hero's going to come through for Hype Unit yet again, trying to swing over to Hanzo, and at this point, it's looking particularly good as for Saints as a whole. They're going to have the supercharger, both DPS ultimates online, and Transcendence to mitigate any damage that comes through as well. So, what we said needed to be a hero play for Saints now is in the other foot as Hype Unit needs to find some miracle here.
That pulse bomb from Hazard nearly shut it down immediately. Crazy Cat feeling the wind on that one. He's got the Bob, gonna chuck it down onto the objective now. This is a very nice position for a double sniper composition, but you've got to actually find the eliminations to pair with it. Bob on the point, gonna contest. I believe it actually goes a bit long there. Hazard's gonna be going down though. Both tanks eliminated. No one contesting the cart now. It's overtime for Hype Unit, but they're locking it down finally. Probably took them longer than it should have. They maybe got a little bit too hyped as a unit, but eventually they will complete Route 66.
And I mean, it wasn't a miracle they needed. It was a mistake from Saints to open that up. As Saints drop an early, use their fight-winning ultimates early. And again, Hype Unit just waits until they're ineffective, sends the Bob in, forces the Transcendence, and that, once you're on low ground, once you don't have control anymore, and you can hide from damage that's coming from the low ground, Hype Unit was able to just walk in and take that final fight and rally. Such a spectacular ultimate in terms of just damage mitigation and being able to sustain for so long. So
certainly,
that is going to be the completion there, exactly in overtime. And now Saints, their map is on the line here. They need to complete the map at the very least. Ideally with some time remaining to keep the series going.
Certainly a long road to go for them. Literal road, it's Route 66. Not too much different here from Hype Unit coming out on the defense. We wouldn't expect them to go for anything different. I mean, BAP Zen on defense is what most teams are going for anyways. Sometimes you'll see the Brig instead of the Zen. But personally, I like the Zenyatta. I think as long as the enemy team's not running an Ana, Zen is a really good pick because Transcendence is still a pretty dang good counter to the blade.
And actually, speaking of Ana, HKT is the one that's been running it most consistently from the games we've seen.
Sure.
Trying for the nano blade potential, but we're not going to even see a blade on Saint's side, at least not for the opening, as it's going to be a double hit scan start. That's looking for that pickoff.
My Crazy Cat not expecting the Widowmaker to come out on the flank, nearly gets his head taken off there.
Speaking of head
now, fair enough. Now Hype Unit has to play a little further back. Chinese Food playing with the idea of going in, but doesn't want to just dash into the entire enemy team. It's a little ambitious for him. Now less so ambitious. 2 already gone. Saints just walk, stay on the objective, and get punished for it there.
Yeah, that was... Is he gonna get? No. Unfortunate. It was close.
But that was a little...
Oh.
Still looking for it.
The greed. I mean, that was just a particularly blasé attempt at just walking in saying, oh, we're going to see if we can get space. And Hype Unit says, no, thank you. Now in the backline, you're going to have the Wrecking Ball trying to create spaces. Tracer as well. We're going for like a two-man dive almost from Hazard and Skiz. I feel like they're just trying to find, you know, a knockdown, just a displacement into a one clip, perhaps.
This is a very interesting composition, to be sure. Not necessarily the most inherently synergistic, and I'm surprised it's the Tracer on the flank instead of something like a Genji. The card's just moving all the while, though. Nobody's actually contesting it right now. Nice knockup from Skiz there. He's looking for Moser, but can't quite find it. There's not enough damage for the rest of his team to connect onto that elimination.
Great heal.
Forts are just pocketing each other. Chinese Food has this blade. All he has to do is get rid of Hazard, protect his backline, and he won't even need to use his ultimate.
Moser just stares down Hazard with the support of his team and takes him out. And Skiz, the experiment did not work, so it goes back to Barisa. And now, I mean, you're looking for, again, just, you don't have a resource economy at this point if you're Spain. And so I mean, Hype Unit, it's all in Hype Unit's hands right now, to be quite frank. I mean, they're going to have 5 ultimates online here in just a minute. Both tank ultimates build up here, but it's all about the go button. How much is Hype Unit willing to engage off the back of this advantage in economy?
Well, can Saints force out more than they should? I'm thinking not so much. Just a blade's what's needed alongside that supercharger, powered up, ready to go. Slicing through the entirety of Saints, and now we're only working with 1:20 for the attacking team.
Mr. Heroes continues. Gal's going over to the Reinhardt. They're going for a sleeve look as well. And I mean, there is some advantage to be gained here. There may be even a cheat play possible with a Fire Strike into the amplification matrix. Of course, you have to contend with the deflect, so there is that element of it. But yeah. Certainly a scary proposition if you are facing down a 200 HP hero of that combo.
Well, Gal's just really far forward. Not anywhere near the amplification matrix right now. Only caught in the Rubidic Flux, and ooh, an Immortality Field just barely in time to save him there. Morgan's now a bit overextended, and Hype Unit split across the map right here. Not quite finding the value they were before, and Transcendence is going to keep him on the card, but only for so long.
The counter Transcendence is out here. Saints do not want to give this one up yet. They need to win this fight. It is last fight territory, and it is good to be Hype Unit going down. Again, another investment by Hype Unit that somewhat unwise, perhaps. A swap.
Orkin? Orkin coming back? Is he looking for the clutch? I don't think he's going to find it. He had to use Take a Breather pretty dang early there. So with 13 seconds left on the board, point A will go over to Saints. They'll keep the series alive.
Just barely though, Paul. 2.5 minutes remaining. Orkin's going to switch back over to the Orisa.
Ooh! That's a nice start though.
Yeah.
I'd actually finding my crazy cat. Chinese Food still has the blade. No, nobody's on the cart. Come on, guys. We gotta get the cart moving while you have the front foot advantage here. Skiz is found in this room too. Chinese Food can take this 1v1 even through the fortify, and it's not really a 1v1 for the rest of the Hygiene. It comes around the corner and face checks him. Now the blade is out. Madero isolated alone on the high ground. Chinese Food barely gets that one, but he'll turn it into 2 and keep Hype Unit's foot planted firmly at the beginning of point B.
At this point, maybe everyone should just go dive it and see what happens. You know?
I love it. I love it, LaFon. I would love that. Unfortunately, don't think that's going to be so much the case. Gal's still on the Reinhardt. He's still got an Orisa. It's actually the opposite. They're going for a more long-range poke composition.
Hazard on Soldier. So the legs have been engaged. Oh,
the legs are out. So's the Immortality Field. Invested early. He's so low, but it's Gal who actually goes down. Chinese Food nearly gets away with that one too. Ice Eagle finally put an end to the insolence there. Yes, 1v1 not finding much of anything. Hazard not going to make it a 1v1 though. Comes around the side and finds my crazy cat. Now Saints can start to look to press forward. If Borkin goes down here, that would be huge, but he can find his shit. Ooh! On left. Oh! On left. No Transcendence. Forced out though. That's still pretty good. For Saints, they can just kite this. They can come back in when there's no resources available. Hazard going down makes that a little bit difficult. The cart's still moving all the while, and the amplification matrix up on the high ground isn't going to do much for Madero. Gonna be real. He's going to go down, and the cart is slowly moving forward here. It's a scrappy, messy fight across the point, but Hype Unit are going to lock it down. Where are you going, Skiz? Oh, please tell me he wins the 1v1. No, not so much. Okay. Well, Hazard will win one, though.
Yeah. I mean, Hazard is going to come face to face with a Sigma.
And he immediately runs. That's the right call. Runs back up though. He's not done with Specs just yet. Probably should be. Specs is just waiting on that gravitic clutch too.
10 seconds
Over to the
remaining.
Roadhog. We got 10 seconds left. This is basically desperate straights here for Saints. They're having fun right now, at the very least with their composition. Hazard trying to lock down Morgan, who is running forward very aggressively. Chinese moved up the blade out. Amplification made tricks. Not there, and that's
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, congrats to Hype Unit. They pick up their first win here in NA Trials, and honestly, as chaotic, I'll say, as that second map looked, honestly, when Hype Unit wasn't maybe getting a bit ambitious, it looked pretty good still.
Certainly was a game. I think that's probably the most definition I can give there.
The most definition.
The most succinct definition. There we go. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much. Tough to go into that last map for sure, as Hype Unit was definitely the stronger team through most of the series, and they're going to take the one series win for themselves here. 1-3 now. Unfortunately for Saints, they dropped to 0-4. Paul, that's a tough straits to be in, but. Again, they have one more game to perhaps go for at least the non-shutout here in Contenders Trials NA. But for this series, certainly an unfortunate showing for them.
Well, and their game against tomorrow is against Odyssey, who, as of right now, are undefeated in NA Trials. So, rough place to be for Saints. But Hype Unit, you know what? I think we can look at this team as, maybe they got a slow start this week in Contenders. And don't get it twisted. NA Contenders is extremely competitive. These are the only two teams that before today didn't have a win. Everybody else was sitting at 2-1. It's very close here. So losing out just barely in a couple of games for a Hype Unit, possibly. I mean, we didn't get to see those on stream, but there are bright spots to this roster and up-and-comers for Tier 2 and next season of Trials as we move to this more consistent monthly format too.
Yeah, and I think that's something to also keep in mind of with a new format comes new opportunities to showcase yourself, and so I think here for Hype Unit, these players have definitely I think shown they have some experience, and I'm interested to see how they perform in upcoming games and throughout the future.
Well, we don't have their upcoming game next, LaFon. We just got to cast them. Instead, we're going to have Uprising Academy versus Skyfoxes coming at you next. We're going over to Group B, so make sure you stick around for some more North American Contenders Trials. Welcome back, everybody, from a bit of an extended break. Luckily, the wait is over. We're getting into game. It's Uprising Academy versus Skyfoxes as we jump over to the second group here, Group B, in North American Contenders Trials. Thanks for sticking with us, folks. As like before, with earlier today at the very least, it's Possible and LaFawn bringing you through this match.
Yeah, and it should be a good one. We have some standings on the line here in this matchup, Paul. The Uprising Academy definitely need to win this one out because as of right now, their fate is mostly still in their hands.
Yes, Group B is shaping up to be quite interesting, both groups, but pretty close toward the top end at the very least. Skyfoxes, unfortunately, are eliminated. They do not have a chance of making Contenders this time around, but Uprising Academy with Malibu being 4-0 currently, and with Malibu playing Square One tomorrow, Uprising Academy, if they can win today and tomorrow, as long as Malibu beats Square One, they will make it back to Contender.
And that's really the question that we have to ask here. Uprising Academy, they've been gunning for that spot for so long. It's been a long uphill battle for them for quite some time. And I think for them, they definitely want to get back into Contenders to prove that they definitely belong there, because this is not the Uprising Academy that was there from last season. Towards the end of the season, yes, but there's been a couple of evolutions here on this roster, Paul. And I think we got to start, most importantly, right at the very end, at the back line of this team in the sports.
Sure. Yeah, Aztec coming in over from Contenders Korea, WGS, right?
Yep.
This guy's nuts. He'll be the one with the Korean name. Once we jump into the actual game, you'll be able to tell that Aztec is the one you, well, I guess most people can't read. I don't know, maybe some of you can read Korean. I certainly can't. But you'll be able to read his gameplay because he is a nut.
Yeah, and I mean, returning here is crammed up on the main tank, but other than that, it is basically a brand new roster here on the Uprising side. Moving over to the Skyfoxes, we do have to talk about them a little bit. And this is a team I'm a little bit surprised by, actually, sitting where they are, because there's some talent on this roster that has been around a tier 2-ish level for a couple of for some time. And at that tank situation, exactly. Faded and Frosted leading the way. These guys are pretty good.
Yeah, well, Mattman's going to be in today, but I mean, still, Mattman, he's been around for forever, it feels like, in the kind of tier 2, tier 2.5 area, hanging around in trials, has been on a host of different teams, and I always liked his Reinhardt gameplay a lot. We won't get to see that more than likely here. I mean, we are going to start on Busan, so maybe there's a chance that, sure, we see some of it on Mecha Base or something, but it's mostly Orisa in the current meta. I'm mostly interested by the Genjis, though, LaFawn, because Tap and Atlas for Uprising Academy and Skyfoxes, respectively, have not been the strongest Genjis throughout NA Contenders trials, but I don't think it's fair to say that they're necessarily weak points either.
No, they weren't weak at all. I think Atlas was perhaps played around just a little bit less in his previous games, and that's one of the reasons why he had a couple of issues. I don't think it's his fault specifically, right? Genji's a very difficult character if he's in alone, and he thrives on the chaos of the environment around him to kind of find value. So for Atlas, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Is he going to be able to play in with his team and get value that way here in this game today for the Skyfoxes? The Uprising, though, they need to come out swinging, and it's not just about those small things like, oh, the Genji's not playing with the the guidance of his squad. It needs to be Boston Uprising the Uprising Academy, coming out and being extremely aggressive, extremely decisive, because they need these wins, and they have no room for error.
No room for error. Well, they have a little room for error, LaFawn. They can get little quick pause here. They can about lose one or two maps. I mean, what they have to do is win both their matches, right?
They definitely have to, because here in it's simply the mathematics of it. You're not catching to number 1, so number 2 is the spot you're fighting for. It's you versus Square One, so you need to come in kind of hot here. But again, this first round of Busan is going to speak volumes about how the rest of this match is going to go, and expectations certainly high for the level of gameplay we should be able to see.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
Well, as we get started here in the map, we are looking for, again, that first fight that's coming in here. Aether around the back line, looking for that dive target, trying to find someone to get into the... Finds way fast, actually, on the Widowmaker. Gonna get the one clip out in its entirety, and this is already really, really good for the Skyfoxes. Starting an advantage. Tap coming into that back line, trying to find some more room to work. But meanwhile, his team is being all the way in the front line. Skyfoxes going all the way off the back of Aether and Atlas to clean up the tank line. There goes Krandov on the Orisa, and the point will unlock. Going initially to Skyfoxes here, as there comes the reset. So now that first fight done, heading into fight number 2. Skyfox is in pretty good position, actually, as they are going to have the Pulse Bomb online pretty early, way fast making the switch over to the Ashe, trying to deal with that, use that Dynamite to get a lot of AoE damage in, force resources out from the defense. Aztag building up close to the next amplification matrix, as Aether starts on the flank, looking for the Pulse Bomb. Low engage here from the Uprising Academy as they try and through drum. Find that first kill. There's the Pulse Bomb, gonna whip. They're not finding anything. Amplification Matrix out from Skyfoxes. There's over the top tap for Uprising Academy, trying to find some more damage. Built up towards that blade. Gonna dash through, find the Ghost Dash, comes in with the blade. The Dragon Blade not going to find that much value, though, as the Gravitic Flux is committed to shut them down. Excellent play from there from Skyfoxes, and not even the point flip there is way fast forced to reset. 55% and counting here from the Skyfoxes, as Atlas has the Dragon Blade here in this next fight. Maybe able actually to combo it with the Supercharger, so that is something here to be keep an eye on. The dash slash combo available for the Genji here for Skyfoxes from Atlas. And again, just a slow poke. All right, we got some
Apologies for leaving you there for a second here, LaFon. We're gonna come right back in though. Blade's already out. Atlas is into the back line. Way fast, not gonna be able to get away. Only gets the one though. Atlas mostly getting mitigated there. Not going on the back. Still gonna trace it with him. But UA, they're able to get on in. Now with the Gravitic Flux, they'll clean on up too and grab themselves their first percentage as we tick past 90 for Skyfox.
Perhaps a little bit of rust there in the Dragon Blade play, much like my play-by-play casting has a little bit of rust on it there too. Clean it off, but the Dragon Blade combo with the Supercharger not finding a ton of value, and this actually means that Uprising Academy are getting pretty good positioning in this next fight. It's going to be dueling rallies coming into this next engagement, so sustain's going to be pretty high across the board. Tap farming up to the Dragon Blade of his own. Going to be on Aether here, trying to get a Pulse Bomb one-shot if he can to open this up.
Gets spotted though by Wayfast. Recall, a little bit more careful. Recall already going through. He's got that Pulse Bomb. He's round back. Can't quite connect with it, it seems, though. Tap also not finding a ton out of the blade. It trades back and forth all over this drum room. Either, oh, so low. He is going to be finished off there by Wayfast. So, UA, they struggle, but they're going to maintain.
And I mean, that's actually as pretty good a fight as you can kind of hope for in that situation. You build up close to your resources, you force resource from the opposing team. Now coming in though, this is going to be, we're looking to see if there's going to be a Dragon Blade combo here coming in, right? Can we get Atlas up to that Dragon Blade to come into this next fight? And with the Gravitic Flux, there's an opportunity here to stall this out. I'm thinking here that Skyfoxes want to force the last fight territory. Uprising will want to make this last as long as possible.
70% taking for UA. Oh, they're not going to be able to make it last as long as they'd like now, LaFon. Krandov already gone. False caught in the Gravitic Flux. Immortality Field has to be invested just to keep him in this fight. It does that job beautifully, though, and False will actually turn it around with the Grav Flux of his own. Atlas still out with the blade, though, finding the value on the objective and getting the necessary kills. We're up towards 99% now, and it seems like Skyfoxes will be taking round number 1 here as soon as they clean up these stragglers.
Yeah, the last couple of kills, Krandov is going to go down here, and as the fight started, so too does it end. Krandov, the last one down, and Orisa blowing up that quickly is a terrible marker for the fight. You have to have your most healthy player stay alive as long as possible in that situation. So the amount of damage throughput, the focus fire that happened to Krandov was absolutely massive, and a big reason actually as to why that fight forced so easily in Skyfox's favor. Something we have to keep an eye out on as the games kind of progress, Paul, is that this is I think something about Uprising Academy that we've seen in a couple of their games prior is that at times they'll play entirely split. They won't look very cohesive. They won't look very well engaged together. And then at other times, even in this map, we've seen from them a couple of fights where they look spectacular. Engagement on point, their combos on point. So I want to see more of that from Uprising and less of the latter, or less of the former rather. But round number 2 is going to go through, and Wayfast starting off on the Widowmaker again. Very greedy pick, but Wayfast Widow, pretty spectacular.
It is, but it's going to be pretty hard for him to find an angle. Here on Mecha Base, especially playing into double shields, you can already see having to grapple all the way around. That being said, Skyfoxes, they're just playing very patient right now, very disciplined, not wanting to push out. They don't have a Genji of their own. Like you said, it's Atlas on the Tracer, which I think is a better pick for him a lot of the time. Don't know if it's necessarily as strong as the Genji. Woo! False. He's counting his lucky stars right there. Beautiful immortality field from Aztec, gonna keep him alive just barely. The point seems to be going over to UA2. Tap going down, just pressuring in for now. Matman not able to really stand on the point with impunity, especially as the rest of his team is falling all around him, and he's not going to last long enough to get that count.
And that was patience from Uprising Academy. I mean, part of that was also Tap coming in extremely aggressively, staying alive somehow in the face of it, but to get to end a Orisa, no challenge there, and Uprising Academy start their percentage building up early on this point. Wayfast again, you know, we said how good his Widowmaker was at the start of this round, and he gets the final blow that opens it all up, buys time. But we're going to have a quick pause coming in, Paul. And a tale of 2 Uprising Academies, frankly, from first to second point, even this early on.
Thus far, it certainly has been. We're going to have a tale of a pause real quick. Going to be back lickety-split here, folks. Less than a couple minutes, but we're going to throw to a quick break while we wait for this pause to resolve. Okay, welcome back, everybody. The pause is still going. Got a little bit more time, not too long. It should only be another 30 or 40 seconds, but we figured we had a little bit of technical stuff to sort out anyways, but now we're back. We're here on the second round of Busan. Skyfoxes took round number 1 over on Sanctuary, and like you said, LaFon, it's kind of been a tale, rather, of 2 different looks here for Uprising Academy fight by fight.
And as we get back into game here, I'm interested to see how this next fight goes, because I think this is going to be the most telling fight for Uprising Academy. If they can execute cleanly, then I think that speaks really well for them. But it is going to come down to execution here in this next fight. They're going to have to be close to this Dragon Blade. Atlas, though, if he can land a Pulse Bomb, he can open it all up by himself.
And unfortunately, my feed has crashed, LaFon, so once again, I'm going to have to ask you to cover for me.
Alrighty. Well, let's fight as the stages fall. That first kill, Atlas, that Pulse Bomb, is no longer on the table, going to be taken out. And that is light returns for this push here for Skyfoxes. Immortality Field committed. As Uprising Academy not too willing to jump in just quite yet. Atlas now back with his team. So, Pulse Bomb available yet again, advantage gone. Immortality Field committed from Aztec. Pulse Bomb going to find the stick. False going down. And Uprising Academy now in disarray. Drigo going to go taking back to spawn. Tap finding nothing with the Dragon Blade as Aether commits the Bob. And Uprising Academy are, I think, a little bit kicking themselves over the fact that we're unable to turn that pick in their favor. And 70%, there we go, gonna flip over as the point goes to Skyfoxes here. That being said, that was a very expensive fight for Uprising Academy, or sorry, for Skyfoxes. They're gonna have the Gravitic, both tank ultimates online here, Gravitic Flux and Supercharger. Other than that though, way fast making a switch over rather to the Ashe. They also kind of looking a little bare. The cupboard is a little empty as they make the early rotation in. Stands up, gonna lay down the Supercharger, mirrored out by Frost, Gravitic Flux.
That's
everyone
a
up in the air.
Gravitic Flux too, catches Uprising as they come through the door. And the rest of the team just gets wiped off the map with Fauna.
And going to have to see here now how... That was a pretty clean engage, though, from Uprising Academy. They only used the Supercharger, and they traded out for the Gravitic Flux and the mirrored Supercharger here. The only thing they have to kind of burn through in this next fight, well, I was going to say the only thing they have to burn through this next fight is the rally, but unfortunately that's going to be delayed a little bit longer. Way fast by the business end of the gun.
UA actually using a rally of their own, though. They want to take it. Like, Gravitic Flux coming out, forces that immortality field, but how are you going to follow up now? Okay, Atlas is gone. That's a good start. You're still walking into that amplification matrix. Kinetic Grasp is going to mitigate some of the damage there, but not for forever. Batman will still go down, and it seems that UA have weathered the storm. Way fast on the McCree, not quite able to eliminate Aether, but the rest of his team gets necessary pick.
I mean, both work there as Tap try to send Aether back to the spawn the hard way. Unfortunately, Aether backs up there. In this next fight, you're going to have Bob. You're going to have both these best ultimates. Tap online with the Dragon Blade. We're going to see more effectiveness out of this Dragon Blade from Tap. So far, they've looked more like a wet noodle than an ultimate. And while his neutral game's been pretty good, the Dragon Blade needs to find value here.
Waiting up in the wings. Fallen, maybe being left behind a little bit. Tap needs to actually go in with this. Pulse Bomb already forces that immortality field too. The entirety of UA is so vulnerable, and Tap's just getting mitigated entirely. He dashes back in, he'll find one, can't quite connect onto the second, but Brigida is maybe the pick the rest of his team were looking for. It's a lot of healing gone. Drijo in trouble, gonna be eliminated himself, but no healers remaining now for Skyfoxes. Fallen is gone, its trades abound. False uses that Gravitic Flux, but he can't quite pick up Frosted. Eventually, he'll be able to shut down the opposing tank. The flip went through the Skyfoxes, but they're not going to hold on to it.
No, there's Uprising Academy, so 99 to 92. Aether's still trying to find here on the flex. If you can get this pick off onto Aztec, it would be massive, but Honor Souls goes down.
Beautiful bit of a one clip there. Make it 2-1 clips from Tap to finish off those necessary picks. Uprising Academy, they've been working hard for it. They're not going to be quite done with Busan yet. That Gravitic Flux from Frosted is not what Skyfoxes need to turn this around. And we're going to head to downtown to decide the fate of map number 1.
A little bit messy from the Uprising Academy there in that round, Paul, it has to be said. But they pull it out where it counts, and they take the round 100 to 92. And honestly, I think way fast switching over to the McCree, that last fight there, a inspired piece of choosing there. The Ashe was not really going to find value. You need the trying to get that stun onto Atlas in the backline with the Tracer finds a lot more value. And Tap, I think, you know, I kind of said his Dragon Blades weren't, or sorry, way fast. Tap wasn't doing so great with his Dragon Blades. I think that was a key pick-off that he needed to get. So sometimes that's all you need from the Dragon Blade. Force Immortality Field, get a single pick-off, and you're looking pretty happy.
We all love the flashy 4K, 5K Dragon Blades, but if you can get the right pick at the right time, it's still enough value. Tap gonna roll out on that Genji again. Atlas still on the Tracer.
I mean, really out here, it's not necessarily a bad idea. Tap's gonna get more spam damage in close, but Atlas is into the back line.
Well, speaking of spam damage, the dynamite there from Aether was nasty. Oh, Tap's into the back line first. Gotta find Aether, lickety-split. He's looking for Fallen now, too. That's the next most vulnerable target. At least gets the immortality field. That's more than worthwhile for UA. They're just slowly but surely battering Skyfoxes as they force them away from the objective.
Does go down, but this fight is very much Uprising Academies here, and they're gonna start to build their percentage on the point as Aether to the high ground, looking for a pickoff, but it's actually Aztec who's going to find out his mirror, so Fallen going to get a quick reset. Coming into this next fight, though, it's going to be a little lackluster, at least at the very start. Amplification Matrix is available for both squads, so That might be what Aztec elects to do here as Skyfoxes enter to get that superior damage throughput. Oh my god, Skyfox is so weak.
Well, and Skyfoxes use their amplification matrix and don't get much progress out of it even toward the objective. And amplification matrix coming out now is far deadlier from UA. They just wait for the perfect opportunity. I'm not sure that blade was even necessary from Tap, but UA, they're not even breaking a sweat right now.
And I mean, the nice thing I can say about the amplification matrix from Fallen is that it allowed them to get out of the choke. Unfortunately, just great patience from Uprising. They let Skyfoxes walk out, and as you said, Aztec get the better of the duo in terms of the amplification matrix. Heading to this next fight, though, Gravitic Flux online for False, and with there's no real way to exit this choke. The False should have the superior Gravitic Flux on this engage.
Ooh, Frosted uses it defensively, though, as UA looks to push on in. Also holding on to his own. O'Reilly's gonna keep most of UA alive. Way fast, though, gonna get caught by a nasty headshot. And the Gravitic Flux coming out from False actually mostly gets mitigated there by the Immortality Field. Now it's just stragglers for UA, desperately trying to stall as long as they can to keep this percentage going, but the numbers all in favor of Skyfoxes for the end of this fight.
I would have liked to see False hold that Gravitic Flux. I don't think there was a way you can clutch that fight out, and coming into this next engagement with having, the Gravitic Flux would have been really nice. That being said, it's not the end of the world for Uprising Academy. They are at 80%, and there's some decent resources here on Skyfox's side, but it's not entirely in their favor. You're hoping for a pickoff here from the amplification matrix, as well as Bob just creating havoc in the backline. Ooh, that'll do it though. That's the opening you needed.
Tap has been shutting down Atlas time and time and time again. The dash doesn't quite get to the Hulk though, so not as much ult charge, not as much damage got out of that as UA would like. Way fast going down to Ava, you nasty dude. Finding the headshot there. I mean, it's Orisa, it's the largest head hitbox in the game, but still, picks like that keep Skyfoxes alive.
Now, I mean, Uprising, they do use the supercharger in that engagement. But aside from that, played it pretty conservatively. They're gonna have enough in this fight, I think, to really go for broke. If they fail this fight, they'll have one more. So I think Uprising Academy really want to get in on this one. Use the Dragon Blade, use the Bob. It's gonna be an early fight. Bob into the backline are already.
Bob gone for Aether there. Tap still holding on to this Dragon Blade as it was a bit of a soft engage from UA. Skyfox is just trying to stay away from the Bob right now, but they're stuck in this tiny little room, and that's a beautiful place for UA to push into, although they push into the Gravitic Flux. Tap's now got the Dragon Blade out. He's going to find two before getting shut down, so it's all on to Wayfast, all on to the members of UA who have got this rally to propel them toward the objective to actually get this flip.
That is really good for Uprising Academy. Coming in, they're also going to have the Gravitic Flux. There is very little on the field here for Skyfoxes. They're going to have the amplification matrix, but this is last fight for them, 90% and counting. It's going to be Atlas who's going to touch the point, but that means a 5v6 in the front line against False's Gravitic Flux.
And I'm being told we've lost our feed for you fine folks, so we're going to try and describe this last fight as best we can. A Gravitic Flux lands on the Skyfoxes. It's nasty. Already UA taking the advantage. Wayfast on a flank, looking to pick up Frosted. And with the help of his supports, he's going to be able to do so. Skyfoxes routed mostly, desperately walking onto the objective to try and keep their progress, but they're not able to get anything done. UA, they lose Wayfast to a nice pulse bomb coming out from Atlas. But it is Boston Uprising getting the flip back. It's 99% for both teams, but with just stragglers coming in for Skyfoxes, it's not looking good for them. Uprising Academy, take map number 1.
That's the Uprising Academy we wanted to see in that third round there, Paul, right? That is the Uprising Academy we came here and said, this is the team that is the team that we want to see make contenders. This kind of gameplay. They're efficient, they're coordinated, they make the right play at the right time, and as a result, they take the 1-0 lead in the series so far. Still, though, at least one more map to go as Skyfoxes hope to tie it up.
Yeah, and once again, thank you all for sticking with us through some technical difficulties. It seems our producer has lost his feed, so we're going to throw to a quick break, get that sorted, and when we come back, it's map number 2. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. We got the tech stuff sorted. The train's gonna keep going, even though the train on Route 66 got blown up. We don't stop here. It's still NA Trials. Uprising Academy took map number 1 against Skyfoxes, and now we head to Route 66.
And I mean, this is where kind of I think Uprising Academy are gonna have to keep their gameplay going. And speaking of, they're going to switch up things just a little bit. Oh, wait, no. Let's not get a little too ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the defense first. Offense is a way of...
There you go.
Yeah, you know, get a little saucy with it, if you will.
3.
But, I mean, default for the defense is they're going to run with what is commonly accepted. Tap, I think, going for the... Yeah, just going for the Sonic Arrow, switching back to the Shimada Brother Genji here. So, way fast back to his Widowmaker.
He's just looking for an early pick. Now he's going back over to the Ash. Dudes, you were still... They got you with attack respawns even 20 seconds out the gate.
Yeah, okay, I don't think you can blame me for that one.
No. That one's on Uprising Academy. So is the onus in this next fight, though. Big Girls is a hard place to remove the defense from.
See the Sigma in close. Uprising Academy trying to just clear the high ground. Tap, waiting for the go button for the team.
As soon as he hears that there's pressure on the backline, he's going to dive in. No, he actually just rotates back around. As Uprising Academy, they say, you know what, we can sit here all day long, but let's just get the payload moving. If they're not going to come contest us, then we don't really have to deal with them that much because of live strike. Unfortunately, they still get kind of trapped in this little canyon here. Tap going to find that out the hard way, and the rest of UA have to just back up.
Alice going to take the 1v1 and win. Oh, well, so weak. Stay alive, though. Bit of a neutral fight there. That's not, it's just an all generation and really favors Skyfoxes a ton there. They're going to have advantage in those next fights by quite a significant margin. Looking to Atlas. Yeah. Playing aggressively here. There's the immortality matrix, rather.
Well, and the amplification matrix doesn't actually find a pick. UA, they're going to get some space out of it, but Atlas really has the blade. Bob's online for Aether. He's just going to be straight on the objective. Oh, Crandog takes a nasty hit to the head, too. He's going to have to play much safer. Half of Uprising Academy can't even get through the room on your right. You can see the X-rays. Frosted's keeping them at bay single-handedly right now. It's a split right now from UA, and a collapse is going to be nasty. Atlas finds the pick down inside the gas station, even gets away with it.
Yeah, it's extremely bold from Atlas, and it pays off. Uprising Academy. That was actually worst case scenario for them because it was 2 ultimates that built very quickly to just completely halt the push. They didn't even have to build the Dragon Blade. At Tap is at 60%. Atlas has significantly generated ahead of him, and now Skyfoxes are really in the driver's seat. You're looking at likely an ult from Uprising. If they want to break this point open, Skyfoxes have all the advantage here, Paul.
It's going to have to be a nasty forbidden clutch from False, but the one comes out from Frosted first. Doesn't seem to force the immortality field, actually. Uprising Academy, they play very disciplined on that. They say we can survive this and push forward now onto Frosted. He gets an immortality field of his own, and now the blade is out. Immortality field down from Aztec, but it's not enough to save his team. False will find one with his own Gravitic Flux, and UA, they're still trying to make this work. Supercharger out and everything as they inch the payload forward. And Tap, all around the map right now, finds the necessary pickups to keep his team moving.
Tap, please. Oh, no.
You can't lose that 1v1.
You can't lose that 1v1. Okay. He's good. Theatrics, Paul. Theatrics at the last moment. I think this is Uprising Academy's point here. There's no way that Skyfoxes are going to contest. That was surprisingly not that expensive. Tap with extreme discipline to not use the Dragon Blade as he generated in that last engagement. So credit to the Genji player for Uprising Academy. Skyfoxes defensively have the advantage, though. They have the damage throughput that Uprising has to walk into. So you're either looking for a Dragon Blade play to force Supercharger Immortality Field, which that you then push off of, or Skyfoxes really has this in the bag. I think here you gotta play for that Dragon Blade into Supercharger.
Amplification Matrix gonna come out first from Skyfoxes. Fallen forces UA into the room, buys them time. Maybe not Frosted too much time. He plays so far forward, but he's yet to be really punished for it outside of that one fight on Route 66. Now UA have forced Skyfoxes into a very interesting position Supercharger's gonna go out, and Aztec loses his life after he throws down the amplification matrix. UA, they were setting up for a cheeky run around with Tap coming up the back, but the timing just doesn't work out. Frosted still goes down though. UA still in this fight and still have ultimates to boot if they want to engage.
I don't know if this Bob here, I think is going to stop the engagement, it's going to buy time. Way fast though, finds a pick off here.
Oh, what a beautiful immortality field. How long can Trijo live off the back of it is the question. Long enough to pop his rally, start stacking the armor on his team. Autumn Souls has one of his own, trying to keep Chris alive, but the armor packs only do so much. UA, they play that fight to the brink of defeat, but come back and move the payload.
Oh man, staggering Atlas there too was the height of comedy. You don't really expect to see a Genji get staggered out. Tab has now had, what is it, 3 fights in a row without using Dragon Blade, or 2 fights in a row without using Dragon Blade? I would expect him to kind of play off this one, maybe with a Supercharger going for that dash slash combo as we kind of highlighted before. It's going to be a last second contest from Skyfoxes though.
Already the Gravitic Flux out. Atlas has a blade of his own. Ball's getting stunned up in his own Gravitic Flux, and now Atlas is in the back line. He's just going to be able to get the Supercharger though. That's not the ideal usage, and Aztec will shut him down too. A messy fight right now. Oh, beautiful jump there from Aztec. Just goes straight over the rock, and now Frost is left all alone inside the cafe. He's going to be able to survive though. Not too many eliminations. Okay, finally he goes down, and the rest of Skyfoxes are stuck in this tiny little room. Tap actually swapped over to the Echo. He's on his way back to this fight. He's gonna come in overhead. A rally trying to keep Skyfoxes in it, but it's pulled just a little bit too late. The armor can't stack quite properly, and thus UA will muscle this through.
Tap coming in with the Echo, as you said, that both Genjis not finding the most value in that last fight. Echo obviously pretty fast getting back to the engagement with her fly. I think Tap is going to switch over. Yeah, he's going to switch back to Genji here in this next engagement. Genji, pretty good right now. I think really importantly from that last fight is that Driedro did not use the rally, so they're going to have that. They're going to have brawl potential in this next engagement. Will Uprising Academy Skyfoxes? Bob will be able to buy some time, but they're going to need a pick off from Aether and Atlas combined here.
Dynamite goes forward, just stalling out Uprising Academy. There's that pick you were looking for, LaFon. Way fast already gone, and now Bob's into the back. Tap is completely alone and has already used his deflect, just trying to get some more alt charge before he's sent packing alongside the rest of his team.
That was not that was as clean a fight as you can hope for if you are Skyfox. It's exactly what you needed actually to get back on even footing with Uprising Academy, who theoretically had that advantage in the last fight. But Atlas coming in with the halt, finds that final blow, and will have the Dragon Blade. Here's the Amplification Matrix over the top.
It's going to be able to heal up Fallen's tank, too. That got dicey. Speaking of dicing, Atlas dicing up Crandop alone there. Not necessarily convinced that blade was completely worth it from Atlas, but it at least puts a win on the board.
It really does. And now with 20 seconds remaining, you are heading solidly to that last fight territory. But I mean, if you're Skyfoxes, you're hoping that something whiffs a little bit, that the Dragon Blade doesn't find nearly the advantage that Atlas has had, because the Gravitic Flux is really the only thing that's going to start this fight off here for the defense.
Skyfoxes immediately using that Gravitic Flux, and it completely whips. Frost not finding a single person. Atlas is trying to make up the deficit, but the blade belongs to Tap right now. He gets shut down though. Immortality Field denies him any kind of value, and Autumn Souls Brigand to Genji does what the character was designed for. Way Fast is coming back to the fight with Bob, but I don't think UA is gonna last long enough to see it. Bob comes out the other direction, and no siree. Uprising Academy will not complete the map.
From Skyfoxes there on the defense on third point, just proper rotation of their ultimate economy, using ultimates before Uprising can engage, buying time for themselves to start building their economy back. And honestly, Uprising never really got into that flow that they needed to. They had, you know, more tools in the toolkit, so to speak, in nearly every fight there on third point. But because of the aggression from Skyfoxes, because of the tempo that they're playing at, Uprising were unable to really, you know, convert on that superior advantage. And as a result, a hold there on the early stage of third, right? A really smart gameplay from Skyfoxes to hold out their defense.
And remember, if Skyfoxes can pass Uprising Academy, get this map on the board, while they won't be able to make contenders, they could still very much play gatekeepers, still play for a bit of recognition here in NA Trials. If you can shut out the pretty much sole remaining Academy team in Trials right now from making contenders again for next season, that's at least something worth doing. And if Uprising Academy don't win both their next games, they don't have a chance to make it back to contenders. This map, this series, although they're, playing a team yet to pick up a win, it's still important that you find a win yourselves, Uprising.
Uprising do have the 1-0 lead, though, so far in the series, as the gates unlock here. Uprising Academy doing a mirror defense here that Skyfoxes played out. 2 on the high ground to control the Brig and the Sigma, and everyone else on Big Earls.
Skyfoxes just walking it through right now. Call Secretion, more just an annoyance than anything to Skyfoxes. Tap playing down on the low ground, pretty much all alone, and this rotation from Skyfoxes is actually forcing Uprising Academy back. They're not able to punish this position because they don't have the same crossfire that just walking onto the payload allows. Now, Skyfoxes can just take control of Big Earls themselves, flip the map forcibly on the defense right now. They have the high ground, but they still need to actually remove Uprising Academy from the point amplification matrix, going to help them do so. Aztec already gone. Now it's more of a question of how long can Uprising Academy stall. They don't have the positioning necessary. They don't really have the damage. They're nearly up to some ultimates like the Gravitic Flux, but it's slow going right now for both teams.
This is still anyone's fight here. There's no real deaths. Gravitic Flux being committed.
Also, he doesn't find anything out of it. I think he got stunned, and then he got separated from the rest of his team. UA have managed to regain the defender's positioning, but they don't have enough forces to actually take this fight right now.
They are going to get another fight here on the end of first. A staggered fight, yes, but there's still a chance there. So, weirdly, that actually bought a ton of time for Uprising Academy, and Tap is looking to get in the back line with this Dragon Blade.
Way fast, gotta be a little bit careful. Atlas gonna shut him down. Beautiful work there. Way fast overextends a bit. This rally coming out from Drijo is not enough to keep his team alive through the Dragon Blade. Atlas already finds one. He hardly needs more final blows to put this one to bed. Point A is easily gonna go over to Skyfoxes.
There's still so much time taken out off the clock, though, with that weird map flip that Uprising Academy did. Credit to Uprising for staying alive for so long in that engagement, and now Skyfoxes, they're going to have to work their way through. This second phase is going to be... They can get stalled out pretty easily if they're not careful here. Again, defender's advantage, high ground advantage in, close. You can see here, crossed it over the high ground, trying to find the angle here to spam over. Amplification Matrix committed. Falls down early, too.
False not able to pull out their kinetic grasp. I believe he already used it. UA now, they're just going to walk to the objective. They realize that you do a 5v6, this fight is pretty much washed, but they're going to actually invest regardless, Supercharger and Amplification Matrix, to try and make up the one-player deficit, but it does not do so. UA, they're not able to get any sight lines. They just get crunched upon in that tiny little room.
They did pull out the rally from Skyfoxes, though. So this next engage for Uprising Academy, if they can get out cleanly and avoid the bomb, they will have decent health pools. They won't be at a disadvantage in terms of the armor. So Uprising Academy still have tools to get out of spawn. Up to execution now, and Atlas, all eyes on him as he tries to build that Dragon Blade.
All eyes on Bob, just gonna go straight to the door and harass the back of False. False now has an issue. He has to play around and further back so he doesn't take damage from the Bob, but the rest of his team is gonna be left so vulnerable while he does so. And just demolished on the objective. Skyfox is unflinching as they look to take point B.
Unflinching, and not only are they looking to take point B, they're looking to close out the map. 4 minutes, the golden box of victory is just past the gates here, Paul. And Atlas, Dragon Blade at the ready, Supercharger to back him up. Skyfox is looking at evening out the series right here.
It's more of a white box of victory as we have the Contenders setting on, but the point still stands. It's just around the corner here for Skyfoxes. Their first win, potentially, still in the books. Not necessarily close, but this is what they have to do if they want to even consider it. Moving forward now. Bob goes in from way fast. Atlas has the blade out. He just pops way fast immediately. And he gets Aztec, who couldn't even stand in his own immortality field. Tap trying to fire back. He's got a blade. It's not insignificant. He gets so many, but the gravitic flux from Frosted, it's just false on the objective. He's got no one to cover him, and no one can get to the cart. Skyfoxes will send us to a map number 3 and look to gatekeep UA out of Contenders.
That was a hectic last fight, Paul. Everything going off all at once, and in the fireworks, the Skyfoxes, that gravitic flux, no immortality field available, so everyone goes up, everyone comes down, and is sent back to spawn. A small little point on that, despite how exciting that fight was, even if Skyfoxes had lost it, they still had another 3 minutes to get a couple of inches, essentially, to the check mark in terms of completing the map. So, flashy that last fight was, but that map was almost certainly going to be Skyfoxes once that third gate opened up. We are going to head to map number 3, and everything has to be put out here. Like, this is where you have to make your stand. Uprising Academy, they can see their chances of making Contenders slipping out of their hands as Skyfoxes look to play that gatekeeper, as you highlighted.
Yeah, and kudos to Skyfoxes. You know, we had some questions about Atlas, especially his blades, coming into this series, right? I mean, we hadn't really seen a series where Atlas was reliably pulling out his Dragon Blades yet this week, and we've seen Skyfoxes a few times here on stream, but both him and Frosted did a good job of getting value out of their impact ultimates, right? And Dragon Blade and Gravitic Flux are pretty much like the two team-wiping ultimates in the meta right now, right?
Yeah, I think to note about
they're
Dragon
finding
Blade,
value.
Yeah, I think to note about Dragon Blade is it's almost, at the pro level, it is rarely the Genji kind of doing poorly and more the team not getting the setup. And the concerns I'd have with Atlas is, hypothetically, if the Genji was not getting the Dragon Blade fast enough or wasn't getting these assassination targets, which Atlas very much has. So, you know, clearly is a mechanical Genji doing perfectly fine, and it just needed that coalescing of his team around him to really take that next step to getting that value out of Dragon Blade. And clearly, Skyfox is all on the same page now, are able to do just that. They get the Dragon Blade to get a ton of value. And, you know, I mean, the Supercharger, we highlighted that as being a combo, but even beyond that, using Dragon Blade to force Rally, to force Amplification Matrix, to force, you know, the defensive Supercharger, all of these things that are coming through, Atlas is doing a good job, I think, of helping that happen as well.
Yeah, Skyfox is all on the same page, and as long as that book says they win their first series here, we could be looking at a pretty exciting turn of events. Only one way to find out, folks, and that's to stick around through this quick break. We are all tied up between Uprising Academy and Skyfoxes. One more map, more than likely, to determine whether or not Uprising Academy have a chance to make it back to Contenders. Welcome back, everyone, to NA Trials. It's Possible and LaFawn one more time to see who closes this series out. And LaFawn, I was doing some math during the break. I was double checking, right? Because caster math, famously terrible. But it turns out we are correct. If Uprising Academy lose this game, Skyfoxes will have shut them out. They will have played spoiler, as Uprising could no longer catch up to square one.
Yeah, and I mean, that would take a weight off square one's shoulders, because they have an interesting game tomorrow that they have to play that would be pretty difficult there. But I think for Uprising Academy, that's not really the important thing here. Right now, the important thing is this match, Temple of Anubis. And yes, while we could theoretically get past Temple of Anubis if there were a draw to be said, but I mean, we need to get. I think if you're Uprising Academy, you want to get the win right here and just start preparing for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, and they have to win their match tomorrow too when they go up against Kratos, right? So, you know, it's very much an out of the frying pan into the fryer situation for UA. If you have to at least beat Skyfox, right? Skyfox is a team who hasn't picked up a win yet in this week of NA Trials. If, you know, this last map, Temple of Anubis, if it doesn't look clean, we start to maybe worry about Uprising Academy going into their match tomorrow, where they play a team who on paper should be better.
Yeah, and this realistically, this is a tough thing. This is a tough map to call, because on the one hand, like for Uprising Academy, the map number 1, I think, was very close. Map number 2 was not.
Yeah.
The 3-2 didn't really look that close once Skyfoxes got their feet under them. I think that's something that's going to be very interesting to see here throughout, is that the Skyfoxes we've seen throughout this week has steadily improved, I think, up to and including this match, including the first round, the first map. So from Skyfoxes, are we going to see more of that style of cohesive gameplay that they need to do to get that first win? Because if so, this is going to be very difficult for Uprising Academy, and they may have waited a little too long to get to a point to shut this team out.
And it is worth noting, folks, for anyone who's just maybe tuning in to NA Trials for the first time this week, first off, where have you been? You're on day 4. It's the last match of the day, but I'm glad we have you here now. Second off, it's first to 2 map wins. So theoretically, I don't want to jinx anything, we could have a draw and go on to another map. And then technically we could also draw there and go to a map 5. But let's, you know, deal with Temple of Anubis first. Uprising Academy, if they... I mean, I think the safest thing for their mental, right, would just be to put this to bed right here, right now.
Right. And another thing to note, actually, as we start to see Uprising Academy set up on their defense, something to note that we've kind of highlighted a couple of the teams in the last couple of days has been May has seen a lot of use on this map specifically, and in this point specifically, seeing as how she can sort of shut off a push almost entirely by herself, right? But no, it's going to be Uprising Academy continuing the standard, as it is going to be the Ashe Genji, and of course mirrored out by Skyfoxes.
Tap's actually in a pretty forward, aggressive position here, and it doesn't seem that Skyfoxes have noticed yet. Immortality field has already gone down. Skyfoxes, you gotta go forward with that. You gotta go into the room if you're gonna use that. No? Okay, Aether's now extremely vulnerable. Tap looking to connect onto that, won't quite be able to do so. Uprising Academy getting aggressive now, looking to catch not in the third choke, but the first. Atlas trying to get some backline shenanigans done in and of himself. A deflect will get him out of dodge, but both teams will walk away with a bit of a stalemate.
Yeah, that is going to be the soft reset now, as Skyfoxes are going to walk in, but that actually bought time and resources for Uprising Academy as we get the first real fight of the map.
Amplification Matrix. Uprising Academy just going to stay away from it. Tap is playing so dang sneaky right now here on Temple of Anubis. This has always been one of Genji's best maps, because there are just so many places for Genjis to hide and take weird pathings to. You gotta actually get to the value though. Amplification Matrix going to apply a lot of pressure onto Skyfoxes, enough to keep them out, and way fast will find the first elimination of the map. Aether will go down. Skyfox is now forced to play a bit slower. Frosted separated from the rest of his team. If he goes down here, that would be egregious for Skyfox's time bank, but no, he's going to make it back.
I mean, Uprising Academy have not taken their advantage here. They're going to commit with the Supercharger, but Uprising needs to get another pick off here. They need to end this fight right here, right now.
Could certainly do so. Blade at the ready for both Genjis. They're both gonna pop those swords. Tap gets shut down though. Atlas also not able to find much until toward the end of his blade, but if you find both supports, it doesn't matter what the timing is like. Generally speaking, that'll be enough to break open point A for Skyfox.
Uprising Academy, they are going to be kind of upset with themselves. They took what was an advantage in their favor and never really won that fight. Frosted was by himself for so long. Uprising unable to commit on the kill, and that's going to be, you know, Skyfoxes restraining, cutting back their resources, coming back in with their healing, and then Atlas with a superior blade. Tap just not getting any value. And this is an empty fight here for Uprising Academy. Skyfoxes have so much just flow past point B. Supercharger, Gravitic Flux, Bob, all online.
This could be nasty. You need a miracle here if you're Uprising Academy. You need a pick from Tap into the backline. Rally is just not going to be enough from Freedro, more than likely. Supercharger's already out. Bob, everything just being thrown at the board from the Skyfoxes, and everything's gonna hit the mark. Beautiful work. They get so many eliminations. Aether with the 3K hardly even needs it. Atlas will clean up the rest of the team. And that will be both points taken with still 3 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock for Skyfoxes here on Temple.
Like a house of cards, the Uprising Academy fall over on their defense on... After having their advantage, Uprising Academy did not need to give that fight up, Paul. They really, really didn't. And I have a feeling that allowing Frosted to get out after being separated from his team is going to come back to haunt them here. 3:50 on the clock. That is a massive time bank to work with. And Uprising Academy had an uphill battle ahead of them for sure here on their offense.
Well, if the battle is uphill, then I suppose UA need to stick to their name, right? Uprising. I mean, you set me up too easily for the pun there, LaFawn. It was hardly even worth pulling off.
Ready for battle.
Uprising Academy, they definitely need to pull off this attack, though. That cannot be understated.
And really, it starts off with this first fight. And
Sure.
I think Uprising Academy, Tap was doing a lot of, you know, scouting and flanking and just generally being a harassment in the backline for Skyfoxes. But, you know, he didn't get a ton of value out of it, right? Like, sure, he was farming up his blade, but did he really put pressure? Did he force an immortality field? Did he force a rotation? I don't think so. And I think here in this offense, between Wayfast and Tap, I need to see a couple more eliminations certainly early on.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Need to see some proactivity from Uprising Academy that eluded them on their attack. That's a nice dynamite. Aether already up to 30% charge. Teleporter coming out. I believe that was just out of spawn. Okay, yeah, no. Tap's gonna go back, switch over to the Genji.
There's bait too, because no one actually took the teleporter, so.
Fair enough. Now, all of Uprising Academy, they're going to work their way in. Not too much trouble to get toward the room they want to play from. And not the same kind of aggression from Skyfoxes that we saw UA pull in this room. They're just going to back up, play this standard, force UA to walk through that awkward little choke point. The archway is so difficult to break as an attacker without any kind of ultimates. And these relentless halts coming out from Matman make it even more difficult.
Certainly. Wayfast is so far behind Aether at this point in terms of the long charge. You can see how much the halt has been setting up. There's the application matrix though from Aztec.
That's crucial. Matman gone. That means the rest of Skyfoxes have to peel back, play in the room on the objective. Atlas nearly getting caught there. He'll be able to dash his way to safety, but Tap is just chasing him down. Maybe gonna lose this 1v1. It's close. All right, false helps him. It's not a true and tested 1v1. Bob's down onto the objective to stall some, but I don't think the big Omnic Butler is gonna be able to get too much done here. Just the one pick onto the counterpart Ash, and now it's just Batman on the wrecking ball trying to stall for time.
As that's not even gonna last very long there. Aether are gonna follow swiftly, and that's gonna be the point captured A decent fight, actually, from Uprising Academy. Skyfoxes in a similar, but not as bad position as Uprising Academy were in on their defense. And Aether actually going to switch over to Doomfist, looking for that one pick potential. Aether actually really good on this character. As he has had some flashy moments before on Doomfist. Really, this is to mitigate the ultimate differential. If he can get a pick off with the punch, it'll be huge.
Ooh, he's not even gonna need it though. Gravitic Flux into the plate yet again from Skyfoxes. It's an expensive combo, but a flashy one that wins them a decisive fight.
Credit for the Academy. They just take that and walk with it. All right, you're not gonna hold that fight. Atlas gonna switch over to the Echo as well. But you're never going to win that fight in a scenario unless you commit to it fully. Uprising Academy choose not to, intelligently, I think, because there's no guarantee you're going to hold on. And now they're walking back into this next engagement with merely 6 ultimates. Meanwhile, only Amplification Matrix online for the defense. Skyfoxes, they need a pick off. Uprising Academy have...
Ooh, well, they have the first pick. Skyfox is not allowed that one. Atlas going to be the first one down. Nice deflect onto the Hulk there too. So the momentum for Uprising Academy is undeterred and Aether's gone. Gravitic Flux now out, only catching Frosted, but that is enough to force the Immortality Field. And once that's gone, this Blade is trivial. And the time banks looking like they're going to be relatively similar. There is a contest available for Skyfoxes. They can stall for time here with a Lucio dipping around the point. Aether's immediately popped though. Beautiful work focusing down targets right now. Out from Uprising Academy. They're going to get the Wrecking Ball, keep their momentum forward. A rally does come out, starting to stack the armor here on the Matman, but it's just not enough. Tap shut this down too. And there's no eliminations right now for Skyfoxes to actually stabilize the point. The one on Adridro is not going to be nearly enough.
Yeah, Matman is the last dagger out here, and as soon as he goes down, this should be the point captured. There it is. As Uprising Academy, it's not as fast as Skyfox completed, a 41-second difference as the clock cycles down to 2 minutes for Uprising Academy, 2:41 for the Skyfoxes. Now Uprising Academy back to their offense. I think they're hoping for a similar look on their attack. Is if they can get that pressure throughput again, farm Aztec up to the Amplification Matrix and push off that, they'll be mighty happy.
Well, and you know, when we were back on point A, I was talking about the halts coming in from Matman, right? Applying a ton of pressure to Uprising Academy. But if you don't actually get eliminations out of that pressure, you're just giving Aztec his Amplification Matrix, right? He gets to farm up to it so quick.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't really talked about the main tanks too much in this series because, I mean, they're playing Orisa. Orisa's a tough character to kind of say, okay, we can hang your hat on this performance looking flashy for the stream, right? But
you don't get Earth Shatters or Primal Rage struggles.
Exactly, but it's still a very important role, and I think between Krandop and Matman, you know, the halts have been important, but I think something that's been a bit of a difference maker has been the shield placement. So as we head into extra innings, that's something that I think Krandop has gotten better through the series at, and has really given Uprising Academy on top of Anubis on their attack some room to work with. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Are you okay, dude? Okay, all right.
He's just funny. It's just funny.
He's having some fun. Mental still very much sound here for Uprising Academy. It doesn't matter that they're at a disadvantage, possibly just the remainder of this map away from being taken out of their the running for Contenders. They're gonna play with their hearts on their sleeves. Skyfox is gonna play a little bit more aggressively this time around. Not as aggressively as Uprising Academy did on their defense, and oh, it might cost them. Dynamite forces the Immortality Field so early. Skyfoxes just have to give ground now.
Well, there's the counter Dynamite. Krandop so low, Paul, but he's kept alive here.
Oh, and taps in on the back line, gets the first elimination. Aether already gone, and Atlas not able to find much on his own. Matman slowly being whittled away. Once again, Tap is going to take the 1v1 in the same spot, but this time shut Atlas down. Lickety split. UA move on to the objective, undeterred, just capturing percentage as Skyfoxes can hardly even dip their toes onto the objective. Now an Amplification Matrix is out, and the Gravitic Flux 2. Skyfox is not done. They come back into this one, and they're looking to get the shutdown. Aether will go down, but not before he finds Aztec, and that was the pick Skyfoxes needed.
And stabilization in the corner there. Autumn Souls and Fallen combining for so much healing there for the Skyfoxes. Almost single-handedly turning that around for their team. The Immortality Field into the rally. And that is so much damage throughput denied by the supports for Skyfoxes. Last fight here now for certain on this offense on point A. 20 seconds remaining. Supercharger early. They want to go with the Blade.
You don't have time to make the long rotation. Supercharger has to come out so that Uprising Academy can walk through straight onto the objective. Bob going forward too. Aether already in, finding a nasty knockup, but not an elimination off of that. Tap has his Dragon Blade at the ready. He's got to cut open the defense. Frost is already down. That makes it easier, but you gotta find value right here, right now, and Tap alongside the rest of his team will get it done. He doesn't show up in the kill feed, but his team will open up point A and move on towards the second point.
Way Fast is dead, so they only have one more fight. That cost everything for the defense. Fallen going over to the Ana. They want the heroic plays for this point. The Sleep Dart, the Anti-Nade, all available. It's quickly or nothing at all as the Uprising go through Dark.
Only ultimate coming online is the Amplification Matrix from Aztec. He's gonna pop it immediately, try and get presence into the objective. Atlas on the flank with the assassination! Onto Aztec though, that's so much healing gone so early in this fight. And Uprising Academy are gonna find that out the hard way. There goes the rest of their support line. Atlas has got a duplicate blade just for the heck of it. No ticks taken on point B. Uprising Academy now need a full hold to end the series here and now.
I mean, Uprising Academy are so happy they got that first point though, right? Because they have some room to work with. But again, Uprising Academy need to prevent that mistake they made on their first defense, where they allowed Skyfoxes to make mistakes and get away with them, capitalizing on those errors, on that, using the aggression to get into the backline, shutting down Skyfox is what Uprising Academy need to do here. Elsewise, I mean, this is still anybody's game.
And it could still be a draw, LaFon.
It absolutely could.
It could be a draw, and we could move on to hybrid to see who wins this series. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. It's not the most insane time bank to take point A. I mean, it's less necessary, or it was less than was necessary, rather, for Skyfoxes the first time around. But it's not huge. It's not comfortable here for Skyfoxes right now.
Yep. If they're going to go for the Widow here, try to get that first pick off. See if you can find Tap playing, dancing a little too close to the sun. But we'll see. Meanwhile, for the defense, pretty standard here. As, again, Tap dancing, playing on that high ground, looking... I mean, this is going to be an interesting look here. Aether not even going to go for the shot, actually. Going to switch back to the Ashe.
Tap will get away from that halt accretion combo. So no early easy picks right now for Skyfoxes. Just got to play this clinical. Tap going through, nice dash, gets him some alt charge. No eliminations off that one. Atlas now has a similar option available to him as the Genjis dance around the risers towards the top. Randolph's in a pretty awkward position, actually, holding himself up on the side there, not providing his team as much cover as he could. So Uprising Academy, they have to play a little bit back. A halt brings Crandall forward too. Dynamite goes on in, and nasty connection onto Skyfoxes. Immortality Field is forced early, so unless Skyfoxes find a pick right now, they just gotta wait this out.
Yeah, that's not even really that great of a fight for, oh, that's good. Way fast down early.
That's gone. Tap has to make up the deficit, but unable to do so. Aether finds yet another with his Dynamite, and once that happens, I mean, it's just slow going, but easy picking for Skyfoxes. They're gonna have just under 2 minutes to work toward point B, and no matter what, Skyfoxes are not going to lose the series on Temple of Anubis.
Oh, and then still there's actually a significant amount of time left here on third, or for the second point as well, as it's going to go close to that 2 minute mark. 1 minute 45 on the clock, and Uprising Academy, they do have some tools, but Skyfoxes have at least 2 fights here. They can go hard on this one, drain Uprising dry, and then go into the second fight and just win out the map.
Atlas working up towards his Dragon Blade. Tap's already got his available. And with this much time online, there's still 2 fights available for Skyfoxes. Amplification Matrices traded here. Tap waiting on the side for his perfect angle of entry, but maybe waiting just a bit too long. Crandom's already gone. False forces the Immortality Field with his Gravitic Flux, but Tap goes down! He's not able to pull out the blade! Atlas has one of his own, and just 1 tick is what Skyfoxes needed. They'll take the map, take the series, and shut Uprising Academy out of contention for getting back into Contenders.
That was such a disastrous last fight for Uprising Academy. They needed to go, but Skyfoxes gave them no time to do so. And Skyfoxes will take their first victory, looking stronger the later the series went on, certainly. It's a bittersweet moment for them, as it's just 1 win that they needed. But for Skyfoxes, they'll take the gatekeeper title there. Uprising Academy, as you said, shut out indeed.
And shout out to Skyfoxes. They get to play spoiler, and you said it earlier, LaFon. It's felt like Skyfoxes have looked incrementally better every single time we've seen them this week. And unfortunately, incrementally better is not enough for them to have a shot at making Contenders themselves. But when we move on to this new, faster-paced format, Skyfoxes, they can stick together. They can iron out some of the things that caused them trouble earlier this week and keep the upward momentum going. Look toward that next season of Contenders.
Right? I mean, you have to take your licks where you get them and keep going. For Uprising Academy, it's incredibly, incredibly frustrating for sure. It must be, as they take the defeat here. Skyfoxes, a sight of what's to come for them, maybe. Both teams obviously still have some games left to play, and where that leads them from here on, we'll have to wait to those games to find out.
Certainly. Don't forget, folks, we're not done here today. Uprising Academy can't make it, and Skyfoxes also can't make it, but there are plenty of teams still figuring out whether or not they will be able to get to the top 2 in their groups and make it to that tournament format for the next round of Contenders. And there's only one way to find out who makes it, who doesn't. That's to watch tomorrow, folks. We're going to be back once again with North American Trials. Not LaFon and I, but another wonderful set of casters to take you through. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you tune in, support Tier 2, and find out who makes North American Contenders tomorrow.